All right, ready to dive in? Today, it's the Bermuda Triangle.
Ooh, spooky.
Right, that infamous patch of ocean that's just, well, swallowed up in mystery.
Vanishing ships, missing planes, the whole 9 yards.
Exactly. And theories. Oh boy, do we have theories.
I'm totally plausible too. Wait, did they just say that?
Uh-huh, exactly. But we're going deeper than just skimming the surface today. We're sifting through fact and fiction to see what makes this place so captivating.
You know, what's interesting is the Bermuda Triangle isn't some remote, unexplored area. It's a pretty well-traveled spot.
Right. It's not like we're talking about the Mariana Trench here.
Yeah, think Miami, Bermuda, and Puerto Rico. That's your triangle.
Almost like finding a hidden room in a house you thought you knew.
Yeah.
Suddenly, bam, secrets galore.
Exactly. Right there on the map, yet this symbol of the unexplained. And speaking of unexplained, we got to start with Flight 19.
Oh yeah, the case that really put the Bermuda Triangle on the map. 1945, 5 Navy bombers just vanished during a routine training flight.
Poof. Gone. Like, that's it. And that's really the Bermuda Triangle's claim to fame. It's the case that launched 1,000 theories.
And the creepiest part.
The rescue plane sent to find Flight 19 also disappeared. Double the mystery.
Chills. Literal chills. Okay, so theories abound, some more believable than others. What about those magnetic anomalies? Could some weird magnetic stuff in that area be messing with compasses? Sending pilots and sailors way off course?
It's possible, especially back then before GPS. You're relying on your compass. Suddenly it's spinning like crazy.
That's got to be unsettling, to say the least.
Right. Even today, a strong enough anomaly could interfere with electronics, causing a whole cascade of failures.
But wouldn't experienced pilots, be able to compensate for some magnetic weirdness? They train for this kind of stuff, don't they?
You'd think so. And often they probably can. But imagine being caught off guard, bad weather, maybe already dealing with a minor technical issue.
And then bam, magnetic anomaly on top of it all.
Exactly. It could be that one extra thing that pushes a difficult situation into a disaster.
Right, okay, so magnetic anomalies, they could be a factor, but not the whole story. What about the Gulf Stream? It's like a giant river in the ocean, right through the Bermuda Triangle.
The Gulf Stream is a powerful force, no doubt.
Mm-hmm.
And it can really make things complicated. It's not just a straight current either. It meanders, interacts with the continental shelf, other currents.
Creating these swirling eddies and unpredictable flows.
Exactly.
So even if a ship or plane went down for some other reason, the Gulf Stream could just sweep the debris away, making it impossible to find.
Exactly. Plus, its strength. A small boat caught in the full force of the Gulf Stream, it could easily be pulled off course into dangerous waters, even into the path of a larger vessel.
So we've got navigational hazards, strong currents, and the potential to scatter debris far and wide. But the Gulf Stream isn't the only natural force at play here, right? The weather in the Bermuda Triangle is known for being, well, a bit dramatic.
Oh, absolutely. This region is known for sudden, violent storms.
Like out of nowhere.
Pretty much. We're talking huge waves, powerful winds, the kind that can capsize boats, bring down planes, and then you've got waterspouts. Basically, tornadoes over water.
Okay, those sound terrifying, like straight out of a movie.
They can be pretty intense, and they form quickly, which makes them even more dangerous. But, there's another theory, a bit more unconventional we should touch on.
Lay it on me.
It involves methane hydrates. Basically, vast deposits of methane gas trapped under the ocean floor. Imagine those deposits being disturbed, maybe by an earthquake, an underwater landslide.
Okay, so a massive release of methane gas. What does that do to a ship exactly?
Imagine trying to float in a pool, but the water suddenly gets less dense. You'd sink, right? Same with ships.
Yeah.
A big methane release can make the water way less dense, causing ships to sink rapidly, no warning.
Wow, that's a wild image. Just
Yeah.
disappearing into a bubbling cauldron of methane.
Yeah.
Are there any real-world examples of this happening?
There have been documented cases of methane eruptions causing trouble for ships, but nothing on the scale theorized for the Bermuda Triangle. And some researchers even think methane releases could affect aircraft, maybe causing engine failure. But, gotta be honest, the methane hydrate theory is still pretty controversial. Needs more research.
So we've got magnetic mayhem, a raging river in the ocean, sudden storms, and now exploding methane gas. It's a lot to take in. But let's be realistic here. Not every incident in the Bermuda Triangle needs some paranormal explanation, right?
Totally agree. We can't overlook human error, navigational mistakes, miscommunication, equipment malfunctions. Those are all real things,
And they happen.
especially in busy shipping lanes, like we see in the Bermuda Triangle. And then add those other challenges, the Gulf Stream, the crazy weather, possible magnetic anomalies.
It's easy to see how a small error could become a huge problem.
Exactly. And that's what makes the Bermuda Triangle so fascinating. It's a reminder that nature is powerful, and even with all our tech and smarts, we're still at its mercy.
But of course, there's always that element of the unexplained. Those cases that just defy easy answers.
Yeah, we're getting to those next.
All right, you've got me hooked. Let's dive in.
You know, it's funny, isn't it, how our own perceptions, the way we tell stories, can shape this whole Bermuda Triangle mystery.
Oh, for sure. Like we humans, we love filling in the blanks, creating narratives, especially when we're dealing with the unknown.
Right. And the Bermuda Triangle, with its lack of solid answers, it's like a blank canvas for our imaginations.
It lets us go wild.
Exactly. Take alien abductions, for example.
Classic.
Right. Decades this theory's been around, fueled by stories of weird lights, unexplained vanishings.
But isn't there a part of us that kind of wants to believe in something beyond our understanding? I mean, those alien stories, as out there as they are, they tap into this sense of wonder.
Yeah, there's a certain romantic appeal to those explanations, for sure.
Like we're not alone, there are forces at play we can't even grasp.
But much as I enjoy a good sci-fi flick, we got a separate speculation from facts.
So stick to what we can observe, what we can verify.
Exactly. And that brings us back to critical analysis.
Love it.
Whenever we hear a Bermuda Triangle story, whether it's a lost ship or some strange magnetic thing, we got to ask, what's the evidence? What are the other possible explanations? And how reliable are the sources telling this story?
Like being a detective, sorting through clues, separating fact from fiction.
Precisely. And sometimes the most logical answer, even if it's not as exciting, is the most likely. Like lots of those disappearances blamed on the Bermuda Triangle, they can be traced back to plain old human error.
Navigational mistakes, bad judgment calls, not being prepared for the challenges of sailing in that area.
Exactly. Makes you wonder how many of these mysteries could be solved if we had all the details.
The ship logs, the communication records, weather reports from back then.
Right. But a lot of times, those records are gone, lost to time, leaving us with incomplete stories, unanswered questions. And that's where the storytelling kicks in.
It's like a game of telephone, but with shipwrecks and missing planes.
Yeah. And the media, they often play a role too, amplifying those stories, making them more dramatic to get attention.
It's not always intentional, but it keeps those myths and misconceptions about the Bermuda Triangle alive.
Definitely. It's interesting how our understanding of the Bermuda Triangle has changed over time.
Oh yeah, totally. Centuries ago, sailors blamed disappearances on sea monsters, supernatural stuff.
And then, as science advanced, we got theories about magnetic anomalies, rogue waves, underwater methane explosions.
Our knowledge evolves, and so do the explanations.
Right. It shows how our understanding of the world is always changing. We've mapped the seafloor, we've got fancy weather forecasting models, but nature can still surprise us.
It reminds us we're not always in control.
Exactly.
Right?
And that's another reason the Bermuda Triangle keeps fascinating us. It's where the known meets the unknown.
Where science bumps up against enduring mystery.
So are we saying the Bermuda Triangle is nothing more than natural stuff and human mistakes, blown out of proportion by our love of stories and finding patterns where there aren't any?
Is that it? Case closed.
I wouldn't say that. We can explain a lot of the incidents, sure, but there are still those cases that don't fit neatly into any category.
Head scratchers.
Yeah, the ones that make us wonder if there's something else going on. And maybe that's the real power of the Bermuda Triangle. It's a reminder that we don't have all the answers.
There are still secrets out there.
It's like we're drawn to the mystery, to the possibility of something more than we currently understand.
Like, what if there's something out there we can't even imagine yet?
Right. I think it goes deeper than that, though. The Bermuda Triangle, it makes us confront the limits of our knowledge, to admit that even with all our progress, we're still vulnerable to nature.
And in a world that feels so predictable sometimes, there's something humbling about that.
Absolutely. And maybe even a bit exhilarating.
You're right. It's that mix of wonder and humility that keeps us coming back to the Bermuda Triangle. It's a reminder that the world's still full of mysteries waiting to be solved. And who knows, maybe one day we'll crack the code.
Find that missing puzzle piece.
Right. Or maybe some mysteries are better left unsolved, It lets us appreciate the complexity of the universe.
Maybe the real treasure of the Bermuda Triangle isn't a sunken city or some portal to another dimension, but the questions it makes us ask.
The curiosity it sparks.
And the reminder that there's always more to learn, more to explore.
So after going through all this, the magnetic anomalies, the methane, the human error, the storytelling, What's the takeaway for our listeners? What helps make sense of the Bermuda Triangle?
I think the key is approach it with a healthy dose of skepticism.
Don't just believe everything you hear.
Right. Question the sources, look at the evidence, and be open to the idea that there might be multiple explanations at play.
So don't dismiss the unexplained, but don't jump to crazy conclusions without a good look at the facts.
Exactly. And most importantly, remember that behind every story, every legend, every reported disappearance, there are real people whose lives were affected.
Oh, absolutely. Families who lost loved ones. It's easy to get caught up in the mystery, but we can't forget the human cost.
That's the most important thing. To approach these stories with sensitivity and respect. Behind every mystery, there are real human experiences.
Well said. So, as we wrap up our deep dive into the Bermuda Triangle, what sticks with you? What makes you want to keep exploring this mystery?
It's those unexplained cases, the ones where the evidence is thin, the circumstances are strange, and the usual explanations just don't cut it.
The ones that keep us guessing.
Exactly. Those are the ones that keep the whole debate going, reminding us there's still stuff we don't know about the natural world.
It's like that itch you can't scratch, right? You think you figured it out, and then bam, something new pops up.
A new piece of info, a weird incident, and suddenly everything's up in the air again.
Keeps us on our toes.
Totally. It reminds us to stay humble, too. We've come a long way with science and technology, but there's so much we still don't get, especially about the ocean.
It's vast, it's complex, there's always more to learn.
Absolutely. It's a good reminder that we're still exploring, always pushing the boundaries of what we know. And the Bermuda Triangle, with all its mysteries and unanswered questions, it's like a symbol of that constant search for understanding.
It makes you wonder, are we drawn to the Bermuda Triangle because deep down, we kind of hope there's something more out there, something beyond science, something hinting at forces we don't even understand yet?
Maybe there's a part of us that wants to believe in the extraordinary, yeah. But I think it's even deeper than that. The Bermuda Triangle makes us face the limits of what we know. It makes us admit that even with all our progress, we're still not in charge when it comes to nature.
And that can be a bit scary.
But also exciting.
You're right. It's that mix of wonder and humility that keeps bringing us back to the Bermuda Triangle. It reminds us the world is still full of mysteries waiting to be solved.
And who knows, maybe one day we'll find that missing piece that explains it all.
Or maybe some mysteries are better left unsolved. It lets us appreciate how amazing and complex the universe is.
Maybe the real treasure of the Bermuda Triangle isn't some sunken city or a doorway to another dimension, but the questions it makes us ask.
The curiosity it sparks.
And the reminder that there's always something new to learn, to explore, to discover.
That's a great way to put it. So we'll leave you with this thought. As you go about your day, remember the lessons of the Bermuda Triangle. Embrace the unknown, question what you think you know, and never lose that sense of wonder and curiosity.
Keep exploring, keep questioning, keep that adventurous spirit alive.
Because who knows what you might find.
The world's full of mysteries, and there's always something new just around the corner.
Until next time, happy deep diving.